Tonight, our exclusive investigation dealing with juvenile injustice. It reveals serious concerns about how Geauga County's juvenile court judge punished teenagers. Good evening, I'm Courtney Guzman.
And I'm Frank Wiley. 5 on Your Side investigator Sarah Buddison shares their story.
This spring, as Ohio jails released inmates over fears of coronavirus, 2 teenage brothers spent 3 nights here inside the Portage County Juvenile Detention Center. They weren't convicted of any crimes, so why were they locked up? Legal experts described their detention as unethical, unusual, and even unlawful.
It was extremely difficult to be stripped away from everything that I am.
Alone, locked in a cell.
I couldn't bear it.
Carson says he was even forbidden to talk.
He was also there, and he needed me.
To his little brother.
I can't even imagine how it was for him.
I felt terrified.
Connor was locked up nearby.
It ripped me apart.
3 nights.
Not being able to see him.
Seared in the 2 brothers' memories.
I was treated like an animal. I was put in a cage, basically.
So what had they done? After all, they're the last kids you'd expect to end up here.
I never imagined that I would ever see them in handcuffs.
Their mom, Stacy, says 13-year-old Connor belongs to his school's unicycle team. 15-year-old Carson plays golf. Both volunteer at church. We've left out their last names.
I'm trying
to protect their privacy.
To figure out what was in the best interest of the kids here, to throw them in jail over this.
The trouble began on a Friday night at the end of May. Stacy took her boys to the Geauga County Sheriff's Department, just as she was ordered to by Timothy Grendell, Geauga County's juvenile court judge.
I couldn't believe that that was happening. I didn't understand how that was happening.
The judge decided just the day before Carson and Connor should resume visitation with their estranged father. The boys told the court they weren't ready. At the Sheriff's Department, they refused to go. Instead of sending them home with Stacy, Judge Grendell sent them straight to juvenile detention.
This is abhorrent, even if there's not a pandemic.
Ohio attorney Amanda Powell works with the National Juvenile Defender Center, a nonprofit that ensures kids are treated fairly in court. She has trained thousands of lawyers in 26 states.
I would describe it as unlawful. I would describe it as immoral. And I would describe it as unjust.
A lieutenant at the Sheriff's Department was so concerned, he emailed the staff a few days later saying the only times we should take juveniles into custody is when we have probable cause for a charge, an arrest warrant, or written court order. In this incident, we had simply the judge's verbal order, which is not enough.
Ohio law provides for detention of youth in very limited circumstances, and none of those circumstances were present here.
Well, I really don't think the way to get visitation going in a productive way in a custody case is to lock the kids up.
John Lawson has represented juvenile offenders for 44 years.
My feeling is that in and of itself is really an abuse of the system.
And that's not his only concern. After their release, Judge Grendell's constable filed complaints alleging the boys violated Ohio's unruly child statute. But John says the charge is supposed to address chronic bad behavior, not custody disputes.
I've only seen it happen once in my career, and that's this case, and hopefully it won't happen again.
Geauga prosecutors agreed. In this memo, it says there is no evidence supporting unruly charges and notes unruly charges are not a remedy for failing to comply in a custody case. We wanted to talk to Judge Grendell on camera, but he declined our requests. He did send us a statement saying he is prohibited from commenting on confidential juvenile matters or the specifics of the case, but added my decisions are always in the best interest of the children, based on sound law and the actual facts in the case.
So my reaction is, show me the law.
Amanda says she's not aware of any Ohio law that allows for what happened to Carson and Connor.
I believe that he needs to be held accountable for what he's done.
Since their incarceration, Stacy says her sons aren't the same.
It was horrifying that I was treated like that.
Connor is quieter. Carson struggles with sleep.
I dream about it almost every single night.
Both confused how a judge who is supposed to look out for their best interests was behind their worst experience.
The unruly charges against Carson and Connor were eventually dismissed without prejudice, and Judge Grendel recently transferred their custody case back to Domestic Relations Court. We did confirm there is at least one complaint against Judge Grendel with the Ohio Supreme Court. We can't confirm if there are more because those complaints are private unless there is a finding of wrongdoing. In Portage County, I'm 5 on Your Side investigator Sarah Buttison.